It's gonna be okay.
What's going to be okay?
We need to go.
Yes, yeah, you're okay.
It's going to be okay, girl.
So did The Witcher screw up, and why is the word okay considered a sin? Well, because medieval fantasy should sound antiquated. It's medieval. It may not bother you, but it sure as hell bothers me. The word okay represents a kind of language you're not supposed to hear in medieval fantasy. In fact, we used to have a saying in the fantasy writing community. Every time somebody writes okay, a kitten dies. Let me ask you this, did you ever hear okay in the Witcher video game?
Fine.
In fact, neither in Skyrim, nor in Kingdom Come Deliverance, is there any instance of a character using the word okay. Did they ever say okay in Game of Thrones, the TV show? Did they ever say okay in Lord of the Rings? The answer is no. I can't achieve escapism without proper use of language, and using modern slang in medieval fantasy is a sin that's difficult for me to forgive. So what kind of language should be used? What words should be avoided? Well, I don't have a list, but words like dude or what's up are jarring. They should not be used. They break the immersion for a lot of people who want to feel more drawn into the past. Obviously, speaking like they spoke in the past is a bit extreme, and the people who want to do it often take inspiration from Shakespearean English, as it represents the old, the archaic, and the poetic of what English has to offer. This is the iconic speech by Henry V, as written by Shakespeare and played by Kenneth Branagh in the 1989 movie adaptation of the play. It is beautiful.
That's 5-1. Besides, they are all fresh.
'Tis a fearful odds.
Oh, that we now had here but 1/10,000 of those men in England that do no work today.
What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland? No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss. And if to live, the fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. Rather, proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us.
Beautiful, isn't it? I used to listen to it over and over again. Now, keep in mind, even the movie had to soften some words. In the book version, Shakespeare used the word enow, which means enough. We are enow to do our country loss. But in the movie version?
If we are marked to die, we are enough to do our country loss.
Yeah. Shakespearean talk is actually the other hand of this extreme. Too much of it, and well, it may actually sound comical. Yes, comical. I think it's best depicted in the 30th page of the Noob webcomic, which makes fun of MMORPGs in general, but also takes some jabs at roleplayers. Fie, those impertinent curs took our lives and our belongings. Doth not thine heart overflow with bitterness, Lady Hypatia? Thou, sir, art so money, and thou doth not even knoweth it. As an afterthought, it's probably better that you don't roleplay. Oh, but I thought I was doing great. Back in the old days, I was more at this extreme end of it, and I even wrote a glossary of archaic and poetic words for role-playing. These are all words that I found to be very colorful and yet understandable. I particularly remember that I was complimented in a private message for using the word gainsay, as in, I have no gainsay. I really enjoyed playing with language and words, and it gave me some added value to my role-playing. And if we are already counting sins, Lord of the Rings isn't crime-free either. In the movie, It used the word fire for shooting arrows, which is actually applied for guns and not for bows. So Aragorn kinda screwed up there. He broke the immersion. Okay, not really, since nobody was aware of that fact. Well, other than that one history professor who scoffed out of the theater when he heard that. Unbelievable, they used the word fire! The proper term can be seen used in Game of Thrones in this scene. The issue is subjective, and you may disagree. There is no universal truth. People have different philosophies about that depending on how they perceive language. I'm the kind of person that's very influenced by language. A story isn't just a story. It's music, it's colors, it's culture. And I don't want to hear the same tune playing while I'm immersing myself in something so different than what I know. I'm charmed by the concept of the foreign, of not understanding, of what's different. And that's why I take special notice of language all the time, especially language that's supposed to draw me into another world. Tolkien invented Elvish. Don't tell me that's not inspiring. The Hobbit movie needed their own elven translator.
Then those lines are sent to David Sarlo.
The Elvish specialist, and then he translates the English into Elvish, and then Rasheen then shows me the words, and then I can't say them. Mananingad.
So, while I'm not going to absolve the Witcher TV show from the sin counter, they did give us this scene, so they might just get a pass.